Rain hammered against the school courtyard, turning puddles into mirrors of the gray sky. Children hurried inside, laughing, running, pushing, except for one small boy who moved slower than the rest. 8-year-old Leo, wearing his little blue braces on both legs, struggled to lift himself from the bench. His mother, Maya, rushed toward him, balancing an umbrella in one hand and his backpack in the other. "Take your time, sweetheart," she whispered softly. But before she could help him stand, a group of kids walked past and snickered. "Look, it's Robo-Legs again," one boy laughed. Another whispered loudly, "Why does he walk like that?" A girl rolled her eyes. "Because he's broken." Leo's face crumpled. Maya knelt in front of him, shielding him with the umbrella, trying to hide her shaking breath. She had heard the whispers before. The cruelty, the stares, the questions no child deserved. "Don't listen to them," Maya murmured, brushing the wet curls from his forehead. But then, a shadow stretched across them. Tall, confident, unmoving. Maya turned. A man in a charcoal suit, drenched from the rain, stood before them. His expression unreadable, until he took one slow breath. Then he stepped forward, knelt beside Leo, and gently placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Hey," he said softly, "you're not broken." The kids who mocked Leo froze. Every sound in the courtyard seemed to stop. The man looked at them, not with anger, but with something deeper. A fire, a claim. "He's not broken," he repeated. "He's mine." Maya's heart stopped. Leo stared up, confused, and the children ran. Who was this man? Why did he say that? And what truth had just been cracked open? If this moment already has your heart racing, stay with us. What comes next will break you and heal you. And if you love emotional stories like this, please subscribe so you never miss one. Maya never meant to raise Leo alone. She once imagined a simple, quiet life. A small apartment, shared dinners, a partner who came home early enough to kiss their son goodnight. But life had other plans. Leo was born premature, fighting for every breath, every heartbeat, every movement. Doctors told Maya he might never walk, that he would need surgeries, therapy, patience, and a kind of love the world often lacked. But Maya never left his side. Not once. She worked 3 jobs, cleaning offices at dawn, serving coffee during the day, stocking shelves at night, just to afford the braces that helped Leo take his first steps. And when he finally did, he fell. Again and again. But he always stood back up, whispering, "Mom, I can do it." Maya never cried in front of him, but she cried in the car, in the laundry room, in the tiny moments when exhaustion hit harder than any insult. And the world wasn't kind. Parents stared at Leo like he was a problem. Kids mocked him like he was entertainment. Teachers whispered pity as if it were helpful. But worst of all, Leo started to believe them. "Mom," he once asked quietly, "why don't I look like the other kids?" That night, Maya held him until he fell asleep, her tears falling into his hair. She thought she knew loneliness. She thought she knew struggle. But nothing prepared her for the exact moment. Moments ago, when a stranger knelt before her son and claimed him as mine. The truth behind that claim was about to tear her world open. But Maya didn't know, the man whose voice shook her heart was the very person she'd been running from all these years. The hallway had never felt so loud. Maya's heart pounded as whispers grew around her. Some parents stared. Some pretended not to. Some smirked, the same cruel smirk she'd seen all year. Leo clung to her hand, his small fingers trembling. But the man who had just knelt beside him didn't look away, didn't laugh, didn't hesitate. He sat down fully on the bench, right next to Leo, ignoring the shocked looks filling the room. "Hey buddy," he said gently, "mind if I sit here?" Leo wiped his eyes and whispered, "You want to sit with me?" The man smiled softly. "Of course. You look like someone worth sitting with." Something flickered in Leo's eyes, something Maya hadn't seen in a while. Hope. Maya stepped forward. "Sir, thank you, but you don't have to." He cut her off without looking away from Leo. "Actually, I do." Maya froze. The tone, the certainty, the familiarity she couldn't place. He turned slowly toward her, and for a moment, just a moment, she felt like she knew him. The jawline, the eyes, the quiet grief sitting behind them like a shadow. But before she could say anything, the school principal hurried over, breathless and flustered. "Mr. Hale," she said, adjusting her glasses nervously, "we didn't expect you today. If you'd told us." Maya blinked. Hale. The name hit her chest like a stone. The man beside her son was Adrian Hale, the CEO everyone in the city talked about. Cold, untouchable, a billionaire who didn't have time for anyone. And yet, here he was, sitting beside her disabled son like they belonged together. Maya whispered, Why are you here?" Adrian finally looked at her fully, straight into her eyes. His voice dropped to a whisper only she could hear. "We need to talk." And when he said it, Maya felt the ground shift beneath her, as if this moment had been waiting for years to catch up with her. The principal guided Adrian, Maya, and Leo into her office, clearly overwhelmed. As soon as the door shut, the whispers outside erupted. Louder now, sharper now. Maya tried to steady her breathing, but her voice shook. "Mr. Hale, why did you say we need to talk?" Adrian didn't answer immediately. He looked at Leo first, really looked, as if seeing something familiar, as if seeing something he'd lost. Leo fidgeted under the attention. "Am I in trouble?" he whispered. Adrian's chest tightened. "No, you're not in trouble, Leo. Not even close." Hearing her son's name in Adrian's voice made Maya's heart stumble. How do you know his name?" He swallowed hard. "Because I've known it for 8 years." Maya felt the room tilt. Before she could speak, the principal began talking quickly, trying to control the chaos. "Mr. Hale, if you're here because of the report, we've already taken steps to address the bullying." Adrian's jaw flexed. "What steps?" Silence. "The kind that exposes everyone." Maya whispered. "They laughed at him. Every day. And no one stopped it." Adrian turned to her sharply, not in anger at her, but at everyone who'd failed them. "Why didn't you tell someone sooner?" Maya met his eyes, voice trembling with exhaustion and pride. "I did. They didn't listen." That was the first turning point. The moment Adrian Hale, the billionaire who never got involved, stood up and slammed his palms on the desk. "Then listen now." The principal flinched. Maya stared at him. This wasn't the cold CEO she'd heard about. This was a man burning with something deeper, something personal. Adrian turned back to Maya, his expression softer but heavier, like he was carrying a truth too big to hide. "Maya, I didn't come here because of some report." He took a breath that shook him. "I came here because of him." He nodded toward Leo. Maya felt her spine go cold. "What are you saying?" The second turning point hit like lightning, because Adrian knelt down in front of Leo, eye level, heart level. "Leo," he whispered, voice breaking, "I'm here because I think I know who you are." Maya's lips parted. "No, Adrian, don't." But he kept his eyes on Leo. "I look at you and I see her." Maya froze. Her heart ripped open. Emma, the woman Adrian had loved. The woman Maya had once called her closest friend. Emma, who died during childbirth. And the child she left behind. And in that suffocating silence, Maya felt the past she buried claw its way back, because Adrian Hale wasn't guessing. He knew, and he wasn't leaving without the truth. The room felt too small, too quiet, too full of ghosts. Maya pressed her hand to her chest, trying to steady the panic rising inside her. "Adrian, Please don't say it. But he'd already crossed a line he couldn't uncross. He looked at Leo again, not with curiosity, not with guesses, but with recognition. A recognition Maya had prayed he'd never have. Adrian exhaled shakily. Maya, why does he look exactly like Emma at that age? Maya closed her eyes. Her nails dug into her palms. Her voice broke. Please. No, Adrian shook his head, stepping closer, his voice cracking in a way she'd never heard before. You owe me the truth. For 8 years I've lived with questions, nightmares, guilt. His voice grew soft. And now I look at him, and I know. Leo stared up at them, confused, scared, searching his mother's face for answers. Maya's breath trembled. Leo, sweetheart, can you wait outside for a minute? He hesitated, then nodded and slipped out, leaving the door slightly open. As soon as he was gone, Maya's knees buckled. Adrian caught her before she hit the floor. She choked out, I didn't want to hurt you. He held her arms, eyes fierce with emotion. Hurt me? Maya, you left me in the dark. I didn't have a choice. You did. His voice cracked. And you chose to let me believe my whole world died. Maya's tears fell instantly. I didn't want your family to come for him. Adrian froze. My family. Maya looked up at him. Fear, exhaustion, and 8 years of pain collapsing into one truth. Your mother threatened me. Adrian's blood ran cold. What? She said if I ever told you I was pregnant, she'd take the baby and raise him as a Hale. That he'd grow up with nannies, tutors, cameras, guards, but never with love. Adrian staggered back as if the floor shifted beneath him. His mother. Of course she would do that. Maya sobbed quietly. I couldn't risk losing him. I chose the only thing I could choose. A life where he'd be safe from the Hales. Adrian covered his mouth, finally understanding. Every unanswered call, every message that never delivered. Her disappearance, the hospital report, everything. It wasn't betrayal. It was protection. And suddenly he wasn't angry. He was broken. Maya, his voice barely existed. Why didn't you tell me the truth sooner? She shook her head helplessly. Because I didn't want you to choose between your son and your mother. Adrian closed his eyes, a tear slipping down his cheek. Maya, Leo is mine, isn't he? Silence. Just her breathing. Just his heartbeat in his ears. Then, yes, the word shattered the room. Adrian's hand flew to his mouth. His whole body shook. 8 years. 8 years of grieving a child he never lost. 8 years of hating himself for a life that could have been. 8 years of living with an ache he never understood. And the truth stood right in front of him. I'm so sorry, Maya whispered. Adrian slowly reached out, pulled her into a trembling embrace, and whispered, You gave me back my life. But outside the door, Leo had heard everything, and his quiet, fragile question drifted into the room. Mom, is he really my dad? Leo's small voice echoed in the room. Mom, is he really my dad? Maya's breath caught. Her heart felt like it was being pulled in 1,000 directions at once. She turned slowly. Leo stood in the doorway, one hand gripping the frame, his little leg brace glinting under the light. His eyes, wide, scared, hopeful, were fixed on her. Come here, sweetheart, Maya whispered. He walked in carefully, almost shyly, and Maya knelt in front of him. She wiped her tears and held his cheeks gently. I wanted to tell you when the time was right, she said softly. I wanted you to grow up safe and loved. Leo swallowed hard. He looked from his mother to Adrian. Do you want me? His voice shook. Adrian broke instantly. Leo. He knelt, right beside Maya, eyes full of emotion Leo had never seen from any man before. I have wanted you since before I even knew you existed. Leo blinked, confused. You're my dad. Adrian nodded. Then something happened that shattered both adults completely. Leo stepped forward and hugged him. Adrian froze, then wrapped his arms around his son for the first time in 8 years. He held him like he'd found a missing piece of his soul. Maya covered her mouth, sobbing silently. When Adrian finally pulled back, he held Leo's shoulders gently. I am so proud of you, he whispered, for being brave, for being strong, for being everything I could ever dream a son would be. Leo's eyes welled. No one's ever said that to me before. Adrian inhaled sharply, a mixture of pain and fury. That changes now, he said. You'll never feel unwanted again. Not on my watch. He turned to Maya. And you? He exhaled softly, voice trembling. You protected him. You protected our son. Even when it meant breaking your own heart. Maya lowered her gaze. I did the best I could. And now, we do better. Together. She looked up, startled. What are you saying? Adrian rose and extended his hand to her. Maya, come home. Let me take care of both of you. Not out of guilt, not out of obligation, but because I want to. Because I should have been there from the start. She hesitated. Her whole life had been built on caution, fear, and survival. What if your family? I left that world tonight, Adrian said firmly. I'm choosing my own family now. He looked at Leo, at you, at him. Tears slipped down Maya's cheeks. Leo tugged her sleeve. Mom, can we give him a chance? Maya's heart cracked open. She reached out, placed her hand in Adrian's, and whispered, Okay. Outside, the school bell rang, loud, echoing, almost symbolic. A new start, a new family, a new life. Adrian wrapped his arm around both of them, pulling them close as they walked out of that dim office into the hallway, into the evening light, into a future none of them saw coming. For the first time in years, Maya felt peace. Adrian felt whole. And Leo felt chosen. Sometimes the family you fight hardest to protect is the family that was always meant to be. And if this story touched something deep in your heart, if Maya's strength, Leo's courage, and Adrian's redemption reminded you that love can rewrite any ending, then don't leave just yet. There are more stories waiting. Stories of hope, healing, and second chances. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and continue the playlist. Your next story is already calling.